It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show. Hit you with the no delay in my progress. All the time struggling, only further my conquest. Looking to the future, I wrote and printed the concept. Posted to the net, but that's just a piece of the mindset. Brand slow balling, I'm snowballing, get back to work. Got your favorite companies watching me, but they never chirp. Big names, all of my stories, I see them studying. I probably could have helped them. I guess they stuck in they stubbornness. This shit is jokes. Independent living, did it with the quotes. Been a hidden hand, sending lyrics, and it's been remote. From the home set up, these jokers, it's known beggars. You nothing without a squad. I'm fixing my phone settings. The lyricists, supremacists, the penmanship is limitless. I'm building businesses, aiming again since I've been in this. I'm 007, been cold since '07. How I do it? I was home alone, Kevin, goal setting, but now my goal setting, commentating, they fixating. Light from the hand, the pins rating, forget waiting. I hit record, then I hit record. If a nigga play me on the mic, then I choke him with the cord, yeah. I'm sacrificing money here with every verse, giving punchlines to these rappers when I said it first. Preaching to the choir, giving facts like we in the church. I'm just praying for the day, start to reimburse. True prerogative, they blew the entire budget, they do it. Mind discussions, I'm zooming in higher uppers like Mr. Nolan, we should get this rolling. Tell me what you need, a check, pause, semicolon. I'm tired of the games, fanning the flames, I'm making a change. You don't value what I'm bringing, then it's not an exchange. Only resolution I'm worried about is 4K. If you really want to party with me, then set up the play, bitch. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this evening. In this video, we're going to be getting back into Drake and the documents from UMG. I know I put a video out yesterday and a lot of people were in the chat like, yo, J Nolan, you gotta look into these documents that have been released by UMG. You gotta get into the fact that they say they got his contract, they got documents of him engaging in, different activity with minors. They have all of this stuff stored away. And if y'all were in the chat with me yesterday, I said, hey, to be honest, this is not new information. UMG has been letting it be known that they know about this stuff for quite some time. As a matter of fact, it's part of the reason why they're fighting in this case to begin with. And the reason why they're fighting to have it tossed out is because they're well aware of the rumors that have existed and surrounded Drake and his entourage. Not to mention the conviction of Baca and everything that he had going on. They even talked about it in the oral argument that was just released about a week ago. It came up literally in front of the judge. So when people were coming to me with this information and thinking that this was breaking news, I was like, it's really not new. But what I am going to do is pull it up anyway. And I want to go ahead and pull up the proof to let y'all know that this information has actually been sitting in front of our faces since March, because I actually remember doing a video, because I've been doing readings of all the documents along the way. And I remember reading about this and all of these different clippings and all of these different references that they made in their motion to dismiss, because they've been trying to get this thing tossed out for months. So we're going to pull that up, and then we're going to pull up the proof that this is not new information. It's in the exhibits that they have, and we're just gonna have to see how this thing plays out, right? We can't expedite this any faster than what it's going. We're just spectating, we're reading, we're learning a lot about law along the way, and unfortunately, for those of us that would like to get this shit over with, that's just the state that we're in at this current point until the judge lets us know how she wants to handle this moving forward. Now, in order to prove my point, I'm giving y'all a quick look behind the curtain of the docket. So, Exhibit 2 is the document that everybody is talking about online and spreading everywhere. But I want to bring y'all up to the actual filing of this. It says, Declaration of M. Annie Houghton Larson in support of 90 motion to serve third party Joshua Delsaney, aka Josh Kaplan, by alternative means. Document filed by Aubrey Drake Graham. Okay, these are the exhibits that are actually being filed by Drake and his legal team, which once again lets y'all know this is not new information. This is Drake actually trying to use UMG's disclosures as reason, because I believe even on UMG's disclosure list, they had Josh Kaplan listed. Okay. And while in that document, you'll see the other things that they're saying to basically, remove liability and say this isn't a defamation case, this needs to be thrown out, right? So when you click in here, Exhibit 2, as uploaded by Drake, because he basically just re-uploaded what UMG already had in the docket. So it says defendant UMG recordings Rule 26A initial disclosures, right? Because remember, when Drake came to the table with his disclosures, he had all the people from Interscope, UMG, he had the CEO and president of Republic, he had Rock Nation in there, he had Spotify, he had Tidal, HBO Max, all the streaming companies, everybody, right? So this is when UMG came with their own list of disclosures of who they wanted to, have on file in case depositions are necessary. Okay. So these initial disclosures are made solely for purposes of the above captioned proceeding. UMG makes these initial disclosures prior to any discovery in this proceeding and based on the information reasonably available to it at its time. By making these disclosures, defendant does not represent that it has identified every witness, document, electronically stored information, or tangible thing that is possibly relevant. UMG reserves the right to amend or otherwise modify or supplement the information contained in these initial disclosures pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 26E as more information becomes available during the course of any discovery in this proceeding or as otherwise appropriate. All categories of documents or information described by UMG herein are subject to all objections as to competence, relevance, materiality, and admissibility, as well as to any and all other objections or any grounds that will require the exclusion of the information or any portion thereof if such information were offered in evidence, all of which are hereby expressly reserved and may be interposed at any time, including at any deposition, or at or before any hearing or trial in this matter or any other action. UMG makes these disclosures subject to and without waiving its rights to protect from disclosure any and all documents and communications protected by the attorney-client privilege, the attorney work product doctrine, and any other privilege or discovery protection. No actual, incidental, or implied admission is intended by these disclosures. These disclosures shall not be deemed an admission as to any fact in dispute or a waiver of any rights or defenses UMG has asserted or may assert with respect to any claim. UMG reserves the right to rely upon discoverable information from sources identified in plaintiff's initial disclosures. Persons likely to have discoverable information under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 26A1AI. UMG states that the following individuals and entities are likely to have discoverable information that UMG may use to support its defenses, unless the use would be solely for impeachment. All right, so they have Gary Kelly, likely to have discoverable information concerning revenue generated by the recording, the video, and the delivery and distribution of the recording, image, and video. Okay, so he would have knowledge about how much money was made off of Not Like Us in terms of the song, the video, and the distribution of the recording, image, and video. They've got Ramon Alvarez Smico, also listed in Drake's list of people, right? You have Bill Evans, you have Greg Morella, Jim Rappo, David Kafer, who they make, they're also going to be using his testimony. He's counseled to Spotify because he had to answer to the NYGBL claims that Drake has made, violating New York business law for misleading the consumers, as Drake claims. They have Aubrey Drake Graham in here. Of course, that's Drake. You got Kendrick Lamar listed in here. You got Anthony Saleh in here. So this is the list that UMG put out there. And this is all a part of the same document that everybody's been talking about. We actually read this document a couple weeks ago. So here's the section that everybody is circulating over the course of the last 24 to 48 hours. So they say copy or description by category and location of documents, electronically stored information, and tangible things under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 26A1A2. Based on the information now reasonably available to UMG, UMG states that it has in its possession, custody, or control the following categories of documents that it may use to support its defenses unless the use would be solely for impeachment. So here it says contracts and agreements between UMG and Drake and documents concerning UMG's contractual relationship with Drake. I saw some people out there that were saying, hey, UMG says they have Drake's contract. Of course they do. He signed to them, just like they got Kendrick's contract, which is what Drake has been requesting to be submitted into discovery. So again, I just want to break this down, and I'm not trying to undermine anybody. I'm just saying some of the stuff that's circulating, I know it's all interesting. I know that this is a huge situation. I know that the publications out there, these headlines and these screenshots, they seem like new information, but this is all stuff that we've actually addressed before, right? So they're probably at some point going to be comparing and contrasting the terms of Drake's contract versus Kendrick Lamar's contract. We're not going to be privy to that information whenever that does come to fruition, simply because both of their contracts are supposed to be under an attorney's eyes only policy. And of course, UMG is also trying to withhold Kendrick's contract and keep it redacted only to the sections that are relevant to the case. We'll see how successful that is. Next, they say the other recordings in Drake and Lamar's rap feud and documents concerning the distribution, marketing, and promotion of the other recordings in the feud. All right. So this is them referencing all of the songs that were released in their back and forth. Right. So you're going to get First Person Shooter. You're going to get Like That. You're going to get Push-Ups. You're going to get Tailor Made Freestyle. You're going to get Euphoria. What else dropped? 616 in LA. Family Matters. Meet the Grams. Not Like Us. And The Sharp Part 6. All of those were involved in the back and forth. And of course, as we read in the oral hearing in front of the judge, UMG is trying to paint the scene, the full scene, I should say. And it's like, yo, they engaged in a rap battle. They came to the square in front of the world and engaged in a back and forth, hurling insults on wax at each other. Drake is coming here positioning himself as a victim, like Kendrick Lamar just randomly woke up on a fucking Saturday morning and decided to release an onslaught on his character. That's not how this played out. Right? They even spoke in front of the judge and said, hey, matter of fact, it wasn't even this, it was the judge herself who said to Drake's counsel, well, what about the lyrics in Tailor Made where Drake goads Kendrick to say, go ahead and talk about him liking young girls, that's a gift from me. And the judge even asked Drake's counsel, well, what about when Drake accused Kendrick Lamar of domestic abuse? What about when Drake accused Kendrick Lamar's lady, Miss Whitney, of allegedly sleeping with his homeboy and having a child, an illegitimate child with him? What about those lyrics? Drake's counsel wants those to not be evaluated in court. The judge says, how am I supposed to turn a blind eye to this when these people are out here dissing each other? I need to have an understanding of the entire interaction. Is that not so? Right? They said the petition entitled Art on Trial, Protect Black Art. All right. So remember, this Art on Trial, Protect Black Art was a petition that was released on behalf of hip hop. Drake signed on to this petition to try and keep rap lyrics out of litigation, out of court, out of being used as evidence against someone when they don't have any other evidence to substantiate their claims or to solidify prosecution, right? So they're using Drake's own signature on this petition to say, hey, how is he gonna try to use somebody else's lyrics against them when he was out here petitioning that it shouldn't be happening? So they're just pointing out the hypocrisy of Drake's lawsuit. They say other recordings by Drake and documents concerning the same, including but not limited to those appended as exhibits B, C, and Z to UMG's RJN. Okay? So those will be, I believe, other records from rap feuds and things of that nature that Drake released against other people like Pusha T, Meek Mill. Then they say news reports and documents concerning Drake's relationships with and behavior around minors. This is the part that's really circulating. The criminal charges and conviction of Baka Not Nice Travis Savory, who's an unsavory character, and the rap feud between Drake and Lamar, including but limited to the documents appended as exhibits N through X to UMG's RJN. They also will be using the affirmation of David Kafer he's the counsel from Spotify, appended as exhibit Y to UMG's RJN. And of course, Spotify had to answer to Drake because he tried to open up a petition on them and say that they colluded with UMG to also partake in the defamation scheme. They say these records will be made available at the offices of Silly Austin LLP, blah, blah, blah. The disclosure of such records may be limited by any applicable foreign privacy or data transfer rules. If and as discovery progresses and otherwise appropriate, UMG reserves the right to supplement, amend, or otherwise modify these categories of documents. UMG also reserves the right to rely upon documents, electronically stored information, and tangible things in the possession, custody, and control of plaintiff and or non-parties. All right, so once again, look at the date on this. March 24th, 2025. We been talked about this. Drake used it because Josh Kaplan's name, I believe, was removed, and they feel like he has relevant information, so he wants to try to track him down, which they already are in motion of trying to do. So now what we're going to do is revisit UMG's RJN, which is a request for judicial notice in support of defendant UMG Recordings' motion to dismiss the complaint. Once again, this was filed in March 17th of 2025. So this came out a week before the disclosures did. Okay. Now, once again, Exhibit A, Protect Black Art, signed by Drake. Okay. To keep the lyrics out of courtrooms. Exhibit B, Drake song Back to Back, released July 29th, 2015. Of course, we know that was him dissing Meek Mill. Exhibit C, Oh Lord, It's Me, which is a true and correct copy of lyrics for Drake's song Duppy Freestyle. Okay, released May 25th, 2018, dissing Pusha T. Exhibit D, which is a true and correct copy of lyrics for Drake and J. Cole's track First Person Shooter, all the stuff that I'm talking about. Exhibit F, Like That. Exhibit E, Push-Ups. Exhibit G, Tailor Made. Exhibit H, Euphoria. Exhibit I, 616 in LA. Exhibit J, Family Matters. Exhibit K, Meet the Grams. Exhibit L, The Shark Part 6. Exhibit M, this is a true and correct copy of a November 8th article as updated on February 2nd, 2025, the full nominations list for the Grammys. Because, of course, Drake is trying to implicate the Grammys as being in on this as well. Now, as we get to Exhibit N, okay, and remember, this was filed on March 17th. They say, this is a true and correct copy of a January 6, 2019 article entitled Drake Slammed on Social Media for 2010 Video in which he kisses, fondles 17-year-old girl, written by Jamie Dearwester and Rasha Ali for USA Today, available at the link. Okay. Now, this is that video that's been circulating across YouTube for over a decade. It's been resurfaced. It's been respread out on social media. It's the one where he's weird as fuck and he says, hey, oh my God, I keep seeing all these 17-year-olds. Why are you built like that? Right? And then he proceeds to kiss her anyway on stage. The young lady who was kissed on stage, she came out, I believe, last year and said, hey, that's me in that video. And he didn't do anything wrong. My dad was literally in the crowd and nobody cared. Ma'am, you're a victim. But that's the video. So they're referencing that. Okay? Exhibit O, which is a true and correct copy of a January 6, 2019 article entitled Drake Slammed for Kissing 17-Year-Old Girl on Stage and Resurfaced Video. So around 2019, I guess people started recirculating and publications started reissuing the predatory nature of Drake kissing this 17-year-old girl on stage. 2019, for whatever reason, it was just a year that niggas decided we're bringing this back into the conversation. Okay? So basically, the same type of article. This one was published by Fox News. Exhibit P, which is a true and correct copy, of a January 7th, 2019 article entitled Drake Kisses 17-Year-Old Fan on Stage, an Unearthed Video Clip. This one was for The Guardian. Exhibit Q, which is a true and correct copy of an October 9th, 2023 article entitled Drake Slams Critics Questioning Millie Bobby Brown Friendship That Began When She Was 14, written by Jack Hobbs for the New York Post. So all of these things in through whatever the fuck that they said in that document, they're referencing these exhibits, which are also clipped into the docket where they have the articles in full, right? So when UMG says that they have documents and information regarding Drake's, relationships or anything regarding minors, these are the things that they're referring to. They're not referring to new information. They're not referring to any backdoor secrets that they've helped hide from the public. They're not disclosing new information, and I'm gonna tell y'all why in just a few minutes. Let me get through this. So this was an October 2023 article on New York Post concerning the Millie Bobby Brown friendship, where he was texting her talking about boys and all that stuff, right? Exhibit R, which is a true and correct copy of an October 10th, 2023 article entitled Drake, 36, defends his friendship with Millie Bobby Brown, 19, in new song lyrics. Okay, so this is People Magazine addressing how Drake put it in a song, I guess defending his friendship with her. And by the time the song came out, she was 19, but of course she was not 19. She was what, 14, they said? Yeah, 14. When that news originally broke. So Exhibit S, which is a true and correct copy of a May 13th, 2024 article entitled What is Baka Not Nice's Weird Case? All right, so after Not Like Us came out, people started exploring Baka Not Nice's weird case. And of course, Baka Not Nice was arrested for domestic violence and then convicted on sex trafficking charges. Okay. Or let me say he was arrested for, they tried to bring sex trafficking charges on him. The girl didn't show up in court for some reason, but he still had to sit because of the domestic violence or whatever. But they were saying that he was running a sex trafficking ring or whatever. Exhibit T, which is a true and correct copy of the transcript for the NPR podcast released on May 9th, 2024, entitled Pop Culture Happy Hour. We processed the explosive Drake-Kendrick beef. And of course, the Baka situation definitely predates Not Like Us, which is why Kendrick rapped about it. And that's going to come up again. All right? So once again, all of these things are not new. It's nothing hidden. It's nothing that we didn't already know about. Now, I said a few minutes ago, I was going to bring it back as to why UMG is not going to disclose new information about Drake, at least not at this time. If y'all have been paying attention to the back and forth and the ongoing process of this case, then you know UMG is trying to get this case dismissed completely, entirely. And the majority of their rebuttal to Drake is that Kendrick Lamar's lyrics on Not Like Us were rhetorical hyperbole. This is the word, this is the phrase that they use many times throughout their arguments, their filings, even in front of the judge, they used this term rhetorical hyperbole, which in jest, you can see, if you know what hyperbole is, it's huge exaggeration. So we have Drake suing UMG via Kendrick Lamar. Drake is saying they defamed me. They came up with this plan. They want to devalue me in the market. They want to get me out of my number one spot. They sat back and planned this. And they came up with this allegation that I am a PDF because they knew it would do the job. Now UMG is saying, hey bro, did you forget that this information has been out there about you for years? Kendrick Lamar's song dropped in 2024. They had articles about you back in 2019 trying to understand what the hell's going on with you. They even resurfaced your shit from 2010. So really, ever since you came into the industry, there's been some unsavory practices from your part. So UMG is only pointing these things out to let it be known that Kendrick Lamar's lyrics are based around rumors, which is also in their rebuttals to Drake. All Kendrick Lamar did was repeat rumors that pre-existed the battle. He didn't make up anything, and he also is not privy to any hidden or undisclosed information, which is what Drake is trying to push to the judge, that he has some sort of undisclosed information that needs to be investigated further. Who gave him this information? Where did he get this information from? Who put him up to this? Because again, Drake is trying to prove that UMG, Interscope, Kendrick Lamar, PG Lang were all sitting around coming up with this grand plan of how to dethrone Drake. Okay? So if UMG were to come to the fold and say, hey, we have direct information that confirms that Drake is a pedophile, it would completely negate their rhetorical hyperbole argument. Because the whole point of the rhetorical hyperbole argument is that Kendrick does not have access to any privileged information, and he literally was only replying to you with the information or rumors that have pre-existed and the information that you alluded to in your own song. It was a rebuttal. You asked him to speak on it, therefore he did. So again, if they are to present information that would further solidify that what Kendrick is saying is true, then that completely goes against their motion to dismiss. So that's not going to happen, at least not at this stage. Now, if or when this gets presented at trial and Drake is still pushing this, it's a lie, they're pushing factual allegations that are untrue, if he continues to stand on that square and UMG is pinned back to the wall, like what other argument can we conclude? At that point, if they were to bring it and say, you know what, we have all this information of all of the things that we've made go away for Drake, all of these different lawsuits, arrests, investigations that we've concealed. At that point, they will be basically saying, fuck Kendrick, we're protecting our own ass here. We gotta show this shit wasn't a lie at all. That would be a totally different situation. But at the motion to dismiss stage, if they were to bring that into the conversation, their motion to dismiss at that point would be completely disregarded, moot. So that's why I wasn't so eager to get into this information, because it's not actually new information at all. It's what they've been telling us since Drake decided to officially release this lawsuit, because remember, he had a petition in place first. So just wanted to give y'all proof that this is old information. It's being resurfaced. It's being sent around. You know, people are clipping out the interesting parts and spreading them around as news. And a lot of publications are falling for it. But being that this show is called Inside the Industry, I want to just kind of keep things in perspective. And I want y'all to be as informed as possible when you see these things, not to react off of, pure like glee and joy and stuff like that, but just take the information for what it is and try to like jog your memory of like, did we talk about this before? Because if we did, maybe I shouldn't sensationalize it like it's new information. You know what I'm saying? Because the more that circulates, it only creates a public spectacle. It creates arguments that aren't actually the arguments in the paperwork. And it makes the situation a lot more muddy when we discuss it. Okay? Not that it's going to have any implications in court, because whatever they file, whatever they talk about in court, that's what they do. We talk about it. But I don't want to have the conversations confused because there's some people that want to go viral for taking old information and presenting it as new. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. So at this point, that's all I got for y'all. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be good out there. Peace. King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some batteries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.